Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Got another cold, rainy morning here. The last few mornings it's been cold and rainy, but then it's ended up getting up into the 60s. Almost, I think Saturday I even hit 70. So, a day of rainy day projects. Got 3 babies in the pen. Got another baby out on the pack. We've had a whole lot of fresh cows this past month, and as you can see, we got a whole bunch more to go. Come on, sweethearts, let's get to the back. Come on now. Come on, sweetheart. There you go. All right, guys, so my main task for the day, we got a gate up at our heifer barn up by our grain bins. Has to get replaced, has to get updated. I'm pulling in right now. It looks like they got the tractor parked in front of the gate. It's kind of like a backup, but it's definitely time to get repaired. We've been needing to repair it for a long time. So to do it properly, it's going to take quite a while, but we're gonna see what we can do here. All right, so here's what we got. The original gate that was here is, I don't know if you can see it behind here. It's basically just 3 bars. The bottom one's broke off. And also, there's never been a latch on this gate. There's just these chains that are kind of, it's always just, it's a disaster, let's be honest. So, my plan, we're going to drill new holes to mount a gate. I'm going to get measurements. We're going to get a heavy duty gate. I would like to get one with the peg on the end, and I've got a latch. I could lag it to the concrete so it locks. We could still use these chains, but maybe just not have to have it quite so clustered. Yeah, and we'll just get it mounted properly. Heavy duty gate, and we'll go from there. I think there's about 120 head of these pregnant heifers up here. And we're a couple miles from home. Last thing you want is heifers getting out up here. It's so open. I mean, they could literally run for miles before you catch them. So, jeepers creepers, that is a big heifer. That's because you're 2 years old. Yeah, that's why. That's been a problem breeder. She's a monster boondock heifer. Looks like we got a lot of Thorsons getting ready to come in. From the right, we got a Dominance, a Captain, a Boondock, Thorson, Captain, Thorson, an Outreach, Lavoy. I've liked our Lavoy heifers that we've had come in so far. This is Captain. Jack, he is Captain's clone. Granted, the couple that I've had calve in so far, I don't like as much as our Captains. Captain, Perfect. I've liked our Perfects. We got a military P back there. He's an ABS bull. A Dykstra, one of the rare white Dykstras. Usually Dykstras are black. So, yeah, nice little group of heifers, but we can't have them getting out. So we'll get measurements on this and we'll get to work. Now that corn season's over, I can give you guys a little bit of an update. These numbers are all based off of what our harvest lab on the chopper said. But according to the harvest lab, we ended up averaging 21.6 tons per acre, which is much better than I expected, given the spring that we had where it was super wet, and the summer that we had where we got no rain. Yeah, you know, between 21 and 22 tons per acre. And we averaged a 36.4% dry matter, so 65% moisture. So that's almost exactly right where we wanted it. The nutritionists, you know, the number I hear thrown around is 37. We don't mind it being a little wetter. We think it does a little better in the bunk if it's, you know, 35 to 37. So that 36 is right where we wanted it to be. I don't have numbers as far as starch or, you know, anything like that yet. We will, as soon as I know that, I can get that information out to you. And we did just a skosh over 1,000 acres this year. That's including the stuff that we bought out of the field. So again, given those numbers, you're right around 20,000 ton. Granted, I will be upfront and honest, we do not calibrate the chopper much at all. You know, we set it in the beginning and that's what we do. I know to get super accurate numbers, you want to calibrate it, you know, once or twice a day by weighing a truck, and you enter it into the chopper every day. So those numbers definitely could be skewed. But usually it seems like they're pretty close even without calibrating it. So little update on how the corn did there. Just gonna pull out back of the parlor. I know I've got some gates out there. I know there's some crosswalk gates. I thought there might have been a new one. I'm kind of hoping, because those gates are the sturdy built gates. They're a lot heavier. They're square stock instead of round tubes on the end. So it would be easier to weld a peg onto them. So I'm hoping we've got one of those out here. If not, we'll have to go get something, but there's not really any sturdy built gates close by, so it'll end up just being a round peg, and we'll figure it out. Either way, we're gonna figure this out, guys. No stress, but yeah, I think we got something back here. It does not look like what I'm gonna need. Actually, hold the phone. Boy, that would be pretty awesome. This might be hard to do while holding the camera with slippery metal. Oh. I couldn't make that up if I tried. I was looking for 16 or 13 and a half to 14. We're at 13.7 and it's already got a peg on it. That is what you call a big hell yeah, right there. Pretty pumped about that. Hell yeah. That is one heavy mother right there. Yeah. That isn't going anywhere. Not a chance. Yeehaw. Even can wash my boots off. How about it? Bolt, pin, hinge things to put through the wood beam and hook the gate onto, because the ones that are there I know are pretty iffy. Worst case scenario, I could build something relatively simply, but boy, if I had some, that would be a little better. Maybe they'd be over here. One of my goals over the next year or two is to get a designated spot on the farm for stuff like this. We've got a few different spots. It'd be nice to consolidate everything that we had into one spot. This is the old shop in here, so it's kind of been a landing pad for a whole lot of stuff. Got some of those duties there. It's not looking like it's gonna be in here. Okay, well, we'll look elsewhere. Oh, maybe in the old parlor here. See, I got these that go on the gates. I need the opposite. I need the pin that goes in there. More of those. Could use another one of those potentially. None of those pins though, so that's kind of a bummer. Wonder if they've got them up at, maybe Twin Clover's got some. All right, well, we just stopped up here at Twin Clover. Like I said, I was looking for these gate hinges. So they had them, but that pin there is a smaller diameter than what the pipes on my gates are, so I'll be darned if they didn't have those two to fit that. So I'll just swap these out with the ones that are on my gate. Got to find a drill bit big enough for that, and we will put those through and we'll call it a day with that. I think that worked out pretty well. I didn't realize Twin Clover up here, they've got gates and hinges and stall clamps and, you know, neck rail clamps and the hardware. Like, they got all the hardware for all that stuff that we need. Manure scrapers, you know, a lot of it, just a lot of stuff up here. So So it was pretty handy. This is only a mile and a half from the farm. We're not up here very often, but geez, it's kind of nice to know they got that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I said, now I just got to get a friggin' drill bit big enough to make a hole that big. See if we got something. If not, we swing down the hardware store. They didn't have one in there that was big enough. So looks like everyone's pretty much got corn just about wrapped up. There's not a lot of standing corn that's going to be silage corn, I don't think. Everyone I've talked to kind of finished up right about the same time we did. Everyone's getting the combines out and getting them ready to go. As I've said in previous videos, we will not be combining this year. We chopped everything this year just to try to get our inventory stocked up. So that works out pretty well for us. It's just, we're getting into rainy day projects now, like fixing gates, servicing skid steers. I got one of them serviced this morning. Gosh darn thing had 500 hours on an oil change. I like to do that every, 200 or less, 150 to 200, but I just haven't had 2 seconds this fall, so. And it's not like it's going to kill them, but I just don't like having them like that. So that was the furthest houred one out, but they all need to be done. I'm going to do our Kubota. That's only got 104 hours on it, I think, but it has been running since the spring. So kind of, if it's gone 6 months without one, I'll service it too, no matter how many hours it has on it. We won't do like the hydraulic filters or anything like that, but fuel filter, oil filter, air filter, and we'll go from there. Hydraulic oil filters I usually do once a year on the Bobcats, sometimes twice. It's like a 650 hour service interval, I believe, and our average skid steer will get 800 to 1,000. So yeah, I go over the recommended amount of hours on the hydraulics just a little bit, but I've never noticed it really being an issue. So yeah, but either way, that's another thing that's on my list, is getting them all through. Saturday I got the payloaders greased up good. They desperately needed a grease gun. We've had a few DeWalt's over the years, but it sounded like it was pumping, but if there was any real pressure at all, it wouldn't pump in. It sounded like it was, but it wouldn't. And it was kind of like, boy, we just greased this payloader and it's squeaking. So we got a new DeWalt, and I'll be darned if yeah, a lot of those were pretty seized up. So that was just, again, heat of the moment, going quickly greasing stuff without really paying attention. And we got yeah, so the loader wasn't getting properly greased. So Saturday I went through that, got all the zerks freed up, used a new grease gun, and got that greased up good. So I'll have to pay a little better attention moving forward with that. But either way, so that's the whole ride home. It took us 3.5 minutes, so works out pretty well. All right, we're just hanging out here. These hinges that are on here are rusted pretty bad. Tyler's bringing me up an angle grinder. We'll cut them off. I got a bit that's big enough. I actually was hoping this beam was a little bigger. 6-inch post. It's a pretty heavy gate for that, but like I said, I'll ream these holes out a little bit, put the new hinges in those same holes. And I think I'll just, like I said, I'll hook a cable up there somewhere, and I'll run it down to the top corner of the gate to help support it, so all the weight's not right on these two hinges. But he'll be up here with the angle grinder shortly, so me and the girls are just chilling. Huh. Another Maxwell P. What do you think, sweetheart? You got a big head, you know that? You do. I'm not being rude. I know that's not nice to say to a lady, but I apologize. Clean my wrenches. Here, clean my wrenches. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes now. Tyler came up. We cut those hinges off. Clean this. Camera's got rainwater all over it. We cut the hinges off and went to hook up my drill and realized the chuck that was on the drill was the wrong chuck, which is less than ideal. So he's running back to the farm to get a chuck, and I also told him to grab a couple either 2x4s or 2x6s. So this post is getting pretty pretty soft at the bottom. So my thought was, at least where the holes are, we'll run boards down both sides. We'll drill through them and use the boards almost as washers, but also for extra support on this post. That's my thought anyways. We'll see how it goes. Oh, it's coming down good now. You don't care though, do you? You're just hanging out there. 69, 69. We call her Lizzo. Leave that. Take that however you will, I suppose. Huh. Legend. Alright, so here's what we did. I beefed this beam right up real good. Ran the 2 pins through. All I got left is I've got to either drill a hole or weld something on top, drill a hole to put a pin through, or weld something on top, just so if a heifer gets underneath it and lifts, it won't get off the top. I put a latch on here, which is super fancy. It's not chained right now, but we're gonna chain it as well. Chain it and latch it. And we're actually gonna put a latch over on this concrete here too, because this is where we load and unload heifers. And we usually just have a bungee cord or something that we hook over there, where we put a latch over there, swing it open and latch it. That's our thought. But I'm really happy with how this turned out, like really, really happy. I did mention putting a cable up. I don't think it's necessary after beefing that pole up. Also, this gate latch is gonna take a fair amount of the weight as well, so shouldn't be an issue, I don't think. Really happy with how this turned out. All right, Tyler's gonna push up feed. This project is wrapped up. I'm really happy about that. We'll just have to come up and clean barn, but it's nice when you just do something right and you know it was done the right way and not half-assed. Yeah. Hey guys, well, the sun's out now. It's a little after 5 o'clock. I'm gonna call it a somewhat of an early night. We're kind of hitting that season after the rainy day like this. We're gonna head home and get caught up a little bit on sleep. Thinking we're gonna probably try to move some manure tomorrow. We did get all that rain, but the ground is literally so dry that it's gonna soak all of it up. The tile lines aren't even running. I should have taped that. I did walk out back and just check the tile lines because that's where we were thinking about spreading first, but yeah, the tile lines aren't even running yet, so figured I would stop down here. We'll check on these triticale fields. We'll give you guys a little update on that before we end the video, being that it's on my way home and all. Let's give her a little look-sies here. Officially a nice blanket coming up. It did come up a little uneven, so where my tire tracks are, I don't know if you guys can see, like right here and right here, that came up about 4 days after the rest of it came up. Now, I got quite a bit of work to do on that drill. I want to do new discs. I'm wondering if that was part of the issue, is the discs are just worn down a little bit. Another thing that I need to do to that drill, I'm going to call them the parallel arms, but where the row units bolt on, there's bushings where they bolt on that are pretty sharp. I'm going to redo them, and a lot of those parallel arms themselves are egged out. I may replace them or weld them. We'll see about that. So I got the bushings, the parallel arms, the discs. There's a bracket on the back that holds those packer wheels on, and where those packer wheels go in, there's a hole that's egged out, so that's why those packer wheels kept falling off. So I'm going to replace that bracket as well. See if I can get you guys a decent look, but you can see how the rows kind of go like this. That's because these those row units got enough flex. See this, like this gap here, they got enough movement in them where sometimes the rows will get real close together and far. Like, I just got to get that stuff tightened up. Or even like right here, you know, this was all planted. I guess this is the outside row, but I was gonna say we do use GPS, so like down through these rows here, they should be straight as an arrow, but you see there's that little bit of play. That's just wore out drill. But I'm really happy with the way that this stuff looks. I think the approach that we took of getting manure on it before we worked it, before we drilled it, really paid paid off big, just because one, it's got the nitrogen and the potash from the manure, but also the ground got just a little bit of moisture. It was still bone dry, but boy, without that manure, it would have been just insane. So I did that field. There's a field on the other side of this hedgerow that was 7 acres. I can't remember what this field is, like 16 acres, 17 acres. And then there's 100 acres that I did on this flat here, all within, I think it was about a week from the first field to when I finished up that field there. But I'm really happy with how it looks, I'll be honest. It's well established before winter comes. Some of my last wheat is just coming out of the ground. I guess it's been probably, oh hell, what day did I plant that? I think it was a Thursday. So it wasn't last week, but the previous week. So I want to say it's been close to 2 weeks, but again, it was so dry that it was waiting on rain. We just got the rain in, end of last week. So that's just now coming. Well, you can kind of see over that field on the other side behind the bunks there. That's wheat, and it's up. It's not near as established as this triticale is, but that was about 3 days ahead of my last field. So I'm assuming that field, the last field's doing pretty well too. So that's a little update on the triticale. We did not end up taking a 5th cutting of hay. This is the first year since I can remember that we've only taken 4 cuttings. We almost always take 5 cuttings, but usually we're done chopping corn by middle of September. This year was middle of October. And we just did not get enough rain. We took 4th cutting off, I think it was August 20th, right in that area. And there was no rain from like August 5th through September 16th or 20th or something insane like that. Like there was no rain for 40, 50 days. So 4th cutting, just plain and simple, it just didn't grow back. Right by our parlor and the barns there, you guys see that field quite a bit in my videos. That's probably 8 inches tall, and that's hands down our best alfalfa field. There's fields there's nothing there, especially on the knobs where you get less topsoil or it's sandier material, so it's drier. It's just not worth it, especially this late in the year. If we did go up and try to vacuum up what little bit's there, get 30, 40 loads maybe, that would be 30, 40 more loads. Like, it would be nice to have. But I think what we gained there, we would definitely lose next year, because there would be much more winter kill, because I don't think the alfalfa would have enough time to get reestablished before, winter really sets in. We have had 1 killer frost, maybe 2 killer frosts now, but I just don't like the thought of trying to chop this late in the year. Now, if it was a really heavy cutting, I think we would go for it, because tons are tons, and if there was enough there where it would be worth going out and cutting, we would have done that. We probably would have done that end of last week, because we finished chopping on a Thursday, I think. So realistically, we probably, once we knew that we were going to be done chopping corn, they probably would have went right out mowing. The day we finished chopping, we probably would have pulled the processor, swapped heads, and went right into a 5th cutting and tried to have been done Friday, Saturday. But that's just, like I said, there was just not enough worth going after it. So 4 cuttings of hay. I'm super glad that we bought the hay out of the field from Lawn Owl Farms when we did. Again, those you guys who watch my videos, first week in September, I think, is when we got their cutting of hay. Without that, we'd be up the creek without a paddle. Kept her peachy there. Yeah, kept her peachy. Could have went hard, but didn't. So, anyways, like this alfalfa field here, this isn't one of our fields, but this is what ours kind of look like. I think they cut this about the same time we cut ours. The thing across the road here, it's established, it's up, it's green. but it's only, you know, that field there in particular is only like 6 inches tall. That's what a lot of our stuff looked like. So it just, yeah, it just wasn't worth going after. But anyways, that's probably going to do it for today's video. I know fixing gates, not overly exciting, kind of made my day. I'm kind of super happy about that because, again, that's a gate that's just been cob jobbed for over a decade. Like just chains wrapped up and baler twine, and it worked, and the heifers almost never were out, but it was just a pain in the butt every time you were up there. And finally, straw broke the camel's back somewhere, and the gate got totaled, and it just kind of forced us to do it. And luckily for me, it was a rainy day, and I was just able to do it right. I was able to do it the right way, and I'm super happy about that. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're going to try to get into posting a little more frequently now that harvest is over. Get caught up on sleep a little bit, be doing something different from day to day, hopefully. I mean, like I said, once we get into moving manure, that's pretty repetitive. But for the most part, we're going to be, you know, got stuff to service, stuff to repair, stuff to rebuild, stuff to work on. Probably be doing more cow work now than I did over the summer or during crop seasons. So we can get into some more cow videos. I want to have some talks about bulls and genomics and type and all of that kind of stuff. And I want to try to get you guys involved in that somehow through comments and stuff like that. So that's something to look forward to, hopefully, in the future, especially for you, those of you guys who like talking cows. So with that, I'm going to end the rambling that I'm doing here. My lunchtime monster is kicking in case you couldn't tell. I've got a rare amount of energy for this late in the day. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a good day. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you guys in the next one. Rock on.